Hello and welcome to another episode of SightCall Sessions. My name is Pete Humes. I am the head of content here at SightCall. And joining me today, I have Tyler Beck, who is a solutions engineer with SightCall. Tyler, how are you doing today?
Hey Pete, good, thanks.
Maybe you could kick things off a little bit and explain a little bit about your role at SightCall.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I am a solutions engineer here at SightCall, which it means I'm, meeting with prospects, customers, helping them implement solutions, related to visual support, to live video, and to integrating their systems. And, a lot of times it can be trying to shove an elephant through a keyhole is kind of what we're bumping up against is they have
Yeah,
an old homegrown system that they still need to work with and they don't really like it, but
right.
that's where they need their data to flow. And so that's what a lot of the challenges look like, just getting things to talk to each other. They're different systems. And then there's the people element, right? The change
Yeah.
element, the change management challenge of getting your users to adopt these tools that you provide for them, right?
One of the reasons that I wanted to get a conversation with you is you're sort of you spend a lot of time on the front lines with these people and you talk to them about how it's working, how to get it working. So maybe we step back a little bit, and if you could talk about, maybe some of the ways that a tool like SightCall helps
hmm
support the daily work of a field tech. What does our tool actually help them
hmm
do? How does it make their life easier?
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, we talk about, one aspect of site call being just FaceTime on steroids. So it's live video for that field service use case, most common for a lot of times. But,
Hmm.
we're in a lot of different industries like insurance and healthcare and others. It usually comes down to that blindfold experience of someone, I've heard it said, one person's trickle is another person's flood, right?
Mm.
So when someone's describing an issue to you, we have, I think we all have lots of funny stories around when you finally get eyes on something. You're like, what do you mean you didn't plug it in? It
Right.
wasn't plugged in, right?
Yeah.
So that definitely continues to resonate for customers and
Hmm.
for these businesses providing the support where just getting eyes on with live video, it reveals things and expedites that challenge, that problem faster.
You're dealing with experienced techs who've done things the way they've always done. Like, what are some reasons or pushback that you might get?
Sometimes it's when it's buried behind a few clicks or a few
Hmm.
buttons or a login that sometimes takes a few tries, that friction
Yeah.
on when you're in a service related role and time is critical. You want to be as efficient as possible so you can get this job done and get to the next one. Um, it seems to be relating to experience. When someone's very experienced in their role, I
Hmm.
continue to hear, I already know all of the product lines. I already know everything. So when someone's describing it, I know what they're talking about. I don't even need to see it,
Right.
right? So just being on a phone call can be adequate for that more experienced technician is the way they view it. And oddly enough, it seems like it's really for the inexperienced person, the customer,
Mhm.
the person that's new to it. It can almost reverse for them. So where that experienced technician says, I can just do a phone call with this newer technician and they can talk me through it. But the new technician is struggling to explain what the model is and what
Right.
side he's on. And often when they do connect on video, it's oh, you're on the wrong model, buddy. You need to, turn it around and you told me you were on the alpha. You're on a beta unit, right? So
Hmm.
that continues to be kind of that revelation of like this helps anyone that's newer, not only in expediting how they describe it to you, but also sometimes just you being able to point at things in the corners for them or annotate, you keep trying to
Yeah.
describe where it is, you
Yeah.
the expert, and just being able to take a photo and circle it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, they know exactly. I mean, it happened to me the other day. I had some problems with my roof, and I climb up. I'm on FaceTime
Mm-hmm.
with this contractor, and we're kind of awkwardly going back and forth. He's like, "Yeah, it's down in the corner," and I'm like, "Which one?" And I'm like pointing my phone at it. And had he been able to just take a photo and circle it, it would have been crystal clear. But
Yeah.
we didn't have SightCall turned on for that call. We should have, right?
Yeah.
That was my bad. But yeah,
It's
that seems to be one
it's
challenge that I see is just that experience component.
it sort of makes me, it's funny, it makes me think of, if you've ever remember that show Car Talk that used to be on public radio,
Yeah, yeah.
and people would call up and they would try to make the noises that
Right.
their car is
Yes.
making,
So good.
and it was
Yep.
kind of a comical part, but
Right. Yep.
you're kind of dealing with that,
That's right.
so having eyes on it is
Yeah.
definitive.
Yeah.
um
Absolutely.
so what are some of the other challenges?
Yeah, I think one big positive that I'm hearing kind of resonate is this. Let's take the two examples. You've got a technician that needs to get help, and if they're very experienced, they'll probably just say, "Yeah, I can describe it in two sentences. I just need to know if it's uh, this button or this button. I can't remember." And an expert should
Hmm.
be able to tell me in 10 seconds, and we're done. But when we think about the customer, someone that's brand new to it, or there's someone that doesn't really service this, like in the medical device space, picture these large scanning equipment, CT scans, MRIs,
Right.
things like that. Imagine a nurse or a doctor, someone that doesn't have any business servicing this equipment, but yet they're the ones in the front line that they know it just went down, and they're
Yeah.
reporting that in to the manufacturer who they have a service agreement with. One thing that I continue to hear is people really appreciate getting on that video call. Like I'm seeing that in medical device, I'm seeing that in appliances, just,
Hmm.
home appliances, where the customer surveys are glowing rather than you get on a call and just say, "Okay, sounds like it's this problem. I'll see you tomorrow or I'll see you in 3 days." Just letting them show you the problem and explain it and be heard,
Right.
sometimes they feel like you've already made a visit.
Hmm.
And so not only are they, kind of feeling like they're a priority as your customer, they're also knowing that you're going to be prepared. You'll
Yeah.
probably have the right parts on the truck this time. You're going to show up and not ask those questions like, "Now, what's it doing again?" And
Hmm.
I know you and I have talked about that, like what it's like to call a service tech and they show up and you've written out 3 pages in an email what's
Yeah.
going on, and they show up and just say, "Well, what's the issue?"
What's the
"Oh,
problem? Yeah.
I can't fix that. Sorry."
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
But
So,
yeah, the education aspect of that is really interesting
hmm
too, because if you walk through somebody, whether it's an appliance or a large
hmm
medical device, they know next time
hmm
what to look for that
yeah,
specific problem, or how to identify when something's wrong, or a quick
yeah,
fix that they can do.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it,
absolutely. And one thing I continue to hear too is the service technicians. I mean, most of us want to do a great job at our job,
mhm,
right? We want to be competent and successful, but even beyond that, they want to help people. That's
right.
generally where they land, and they want to show up and be efficient and be the hero, right? I've even
Right.
heard that language.
Yeah.
So when they can lean on an expert back at the home office, when it's Bill, the only one who's seen this one older unit, it's amazing to be able to call Bill, him tell me what to do. I get it solved, and I still look like the hero for the customer. I still got it done in one visit, right?
Yeah. And speaking of Bill, I mean, that's the other big value I think that something like this brings, is that Bill's not going to be there forever.
Right. That's
Bill
true.
knows how to do everything. Bill's been around the
Yep.
block. He knows the
Yeah.
legacy equipment, but
Yeah.
Bill's not going to always be there. And when Bill's gone, it's
Yeah.
how do you capture some of
Mm-hmm.
that knowledge? So can you
Absolutely.
talk a little bit about some of that? Like how do people leverage a tool like ours to train or
Hmm.
collect
Yeah.
knowledge.
It's a good point. I mean, there is that just first layer, which is
Hmm.
simply Bill walked me through that unit, and
Hmm.
I at least got a first glimpse of how to service it. So in the future, I'm a little familiar. I still didn't get a full download, and I probably
Hmm.
don't even remember everything Bill said. So that is where our more mindful companies are trying to create content around this,
Hmm.
right? Whether it's using SightCall live and recording this session between Bill and the
Right.
technician, and then just using that content to repurpose it in a knowledge base, right?
Yeah.
Using AI to generate a nice cheat sheet article from that recorded transcript, or using AI to make a nice summary from an audio dictation of what I came across today from just
Right.
one person, not even being in a live video. Like even me doing a recap for myself would be far better than if I just go to the next job
Right.
and then 2 weeks later it's what did Bill tell me to do? What were the steps, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely one way we're seeing that, and that is definitely the crux of, I think, for field service today is just how do we create some really great knowledge based content that can be leveraged in the future, right? Especially if we're
Yeah.
losing talented, knowledgeable people.
And the thing about AI is it's going to make it easier for these people. They don't have to go home and write out a
Right,
summary. It's
right.
sort of a seamless
Yep.
process, which is going to save them a lot of time and a lot of
Yeah,
paperwork or
absolutely.
data entry.
I mean, that's something I'm doing already, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm creating cheat sheets on hard processes that I have to recreate that I bump into every other month.
Yeah.
When I take that time with an AI just to here and I just go as fast as I can and it creates this
Hmm.
really nice package summary. It's pretty
Yeah.
incredible. It's pretty great.
How important is their feedback in the development and refinement of what we build or what we do?
Yeah.
These kind of tools.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's huge. So yeah, we
Yeah.
have a large medical device customer, and they're servicing some of that large scanning equipment, and they kind of told us bluntly that,
Hmm.
hey, your mobile to mobile, it's not as easy as FaceTime. Can you just make it like that? Just
Mm.
make it
Right.
easy. And as I unpacked that with them, it was basically like just recreate what I have with my iPhone. I should have my favorites, my recents. I should have a contact list. I should be able to just hit someone's name and start a video call. That
Right.
simple. And so we completely started over with our mobile experience, and we built um, it mimics your iPhone. It
Yeah.
looks just like it. The same buttons at the bottom, everything, just to create a known experience. And what
Hmm.
was exciting was when I rolled that out to them, not only was it branded, it had their logo and their colors so that they actually could trust it. They knew that it was a sanctioned, approved
Right.
tool. That was good. But bigger than that was just, hey, Jim, I haven't trained you at all. Will you just give me a video call? And he
Hmm.
did. He called me, right? He was able to figure it out because it was just like his other known tools. So that was exciting
Yeah.
to take that really good feedback, which was make it simpler, make it easier, um, and then adopt that and to see that people can use it
Yeah.
easier, use it faster. So the exciting part is I feel like each company uncovers a key metric or ROI that sometimes they weren't expecting.
Hmm.
So we've had customers where they thought, to oversimplify it, they thought truck rolls. They thought we
Hmm.
will do less visits and we'll save money, and that's still true. But what they really found was chargebacks. So, for
Hmm.
example, they're able to get credit back from their vendors when they prove without a doubt that the part went bad due to the manufacturer's error or the vendor's error. And so instead of them sending that part out and the technician and being, on the hook for that service, they can kind of charge that back to the vendor because the
Hmm.
vendor sent them a bad pulley or a bad motor or
Right.
whatever, and they're able to record it, take a bunch of photos, and right away submit that And we've had customers save millions of dollars on vendor chargeback. Another one that surprised me a little bit was safety. In the video call, they were able to establish that the person on site hadn't effectively done all their safety precautions, or they were about to violate something that they shouldn't. And so that, saves them kind of an unknown amount. Like, it's hard to quantify just how bad that could get, right? Those safety issues, right? One big accident could be very expensive for everyone involved. But that's an interesting one, that safety value. But yeah, the things that we see a lot of course, are just, did we save a visit? Or did, instead of 3 visits, did we do 1, right? As well as just being able to drive a better experience for the customer with first call resolution. Right. So we've had customers say, we're willing to let our average handle time, meaning how much time we spend just working on this ticket, this support request, we're willing to let that go up a little bit if our first call resolution improves. So that even though it took us 7 minutes to solve it for you, we solved it. It's done. They don't need a call back. That we don't need emails back and forth. And that's where we hear a lot of challenge, right? Is I'm still waiting for the customer to send me a photo. I'm waiting 3 days, and then I have to follow back up. And so we spend a week with this back and forth on email. Whereas if we had just jumped on a video call, I would have been done in 8 or 9 minutes. I would have taken the photos I need. We would have been validated. The customer would have been happy. It would have been done, right? So that's an interesting one.
There's a really interesting level of discovery, I think, in people that start using the tool. You're talking about truck rolls, and even folks who don't want to eliminate truck rolls because it's part of an SLA.
That's right.
That's how they make their revenue.
That's how they make money. That's right.
I think one of the interesting things is that they learn that they can better prepare for those truck rolls.
That's right.
Pre-visit triage, or make sure they have the right parts and tools. Because if they have to circle back on a second trip, they can't necessarily charge for a second trip because they forgot the tool they needed.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, and you hear it in all different forms, right? With like installs, like, can we just do a quick walkthrough via video, and I'll have you measure that doorway? Because we just need a sanity check that we can get the machine through the doorway, we can get it down the hall, we can get it around the corner, and then take me into the room real quick. I know you said it's clean and ready, but I'd like to know what clean and ready means. Right. And some of the stories are hilarious, right? From like, they said the room was ready and it wasn't even built, right? Like it wasn't even finished. There weren't even walls, like things like that, right? It's pretty funny stuff. Of course, there wasn't power and Wi-Fi and everything. That was months away, right? So it's pretty funny. But just almost that sanity check of, can you just take me through it? And it's neat that you can even leverage other parts of your team. So in these larger organizations, you might have an engineer that's on site troubleshooting, and you're supposed to fly out and visit an install on the other wing here in a few weeks. You could have them just walk over and just do a quick video with you and take photos for you, and then you've got insight ahead of time, to your point, right? So.
I think about the usefulness of that all the time. I mean, I've got a brother who's a contractor, and I so much want to walk around my home and just say, what do I need to do for this?
Yes, absolutely.
What's a good fix for this? So it really speeds that up rather than me trying to put it in an email or
it's so true.
Sketch it out. So
Yeah,
fast.
and it's funny. I have same thing. I have a brother-in-law that's a contractor, and every time I text him, he immediately says, "Can we jump on a FaceTime?" Like without a thought, he's like, "Hey, I can get on a FaceTime call in 2 minutes." And he wants to see it, and then boom, he's done. He's answered it. But that back and forth, he knows it just wastes time, right? So,
well, I think we're going to wrap it up there.
Cool.
I think we covered a lot of great ground and talked a little bit about how we help people out in the field and how vision sort of expands the capability. So that'll do it. Tyler, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Pete.
Thanks for tuning in.